So it's preparing to live stream the meeting, and then
yep.
David, and don't worry, I'll just prompt you.
Yeah, perfect.
And then we can watch it back and see how it came across, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. No time like the present.
Absolutely, yeah.
There we go.
Stream the meeting. Preparing to live stream the meeting. Right. Hi, David. I think there is a lag to this.
Okay.
David, can you hear me okay?
Yes, perfect. Hi, Manny.
You know, I can see you. Right. Okay, cool. Hey, guys. We're live, David Bailey and myself. And today we're just going to talk about a week in review. So, David, tell me a little bit about how your week's been from a property point of view, what your challenges have been.
Is that coming back to you?
Rob? Today we're just going to talk about a week. No, didn't work. David?
Shall I go?
No. I had to switch it off because could you not hear what? Oh, hang on, we are live now. Perfect.
Okay.
Go for it, David. So
right.
he's going to share his week in review.
Brilliant. Thanks, Manny. Yeah, well, it's been exciting because we've just got planning for 3 dwellings. That's 3 bungalows that we are hoping to get on site next year, March 2021. We'd be hoping to break ground on those.
Brilliant. That's exciting news. So tell me a little bit more then. You just put planning and you got it straight away. What were your challenges? Exciting.
If only. Believe it or not, it's been about 18 months from initial contact to getting this planning. That's been through a whole range of issues, including getting access to the site, which is access over private land, getting the servicing to the site, so water, drainage, all that kind of thing. And this is the second planning application, so we were rejected first time round, and we had to resubmit. And fortunately, we were lucky second time round. So it's been a massive journey. Loads of lessons learned along the way.
So tell us a little bit about what the site is currently, and how did you firstly, go about finding this deal or finding the site?
Well, unusually for me, this was found on the market, and as you know, Manny, my real preference is to buy things direct to vendor. Sourced off market, because that gives you the ability to get that planning as part of the process, and that adds a lot of value, which we can talk about another time. But this one was actually on the market, and it was a really funny situation, because I was having a conversation with a vendor who was off market, and he had a bungalow to sell, and he told me that it was worth about £600,000. I thought it was probably worth about 450, and I was just so intrigued as to where he'd decided that his bungalow was worth £600,000 that I went straight onto Rightmove, and I found this bungalow on the market for £600,000. So I thought, oh, that's exactly where he's got this idea from. But it wasn't just any bungalow; it's a bungalow on a big plot, and obviously, that's what we've got planning for: demolition of the existing bungalow and planning for construction of 3 new big bungalows.
So initially, how did you how did you secure the deal? Because obviously it was subject to planning deal, right?
It was, yeah. And what happened was the vendor had already been on the market. They had not got a buyer because of a lot of these issues, that we've talked about. And therefore, when we looked at it, sat down with the vendor and discussed it, he was open to selling subject to planning, because effectively we could come along and solve some of the problems that he didn't really know how to solve, which was to do with access, which was to do with servicing. And we said, we'll work with you. If you can give us the time to work with you, we can solve these problems, get planning, and then unlock the value in that site. And
you paid him the 600 grand that he wanted?
It wasn't that. We did have to negotiate, because as I hinted, there was some access issues and some servicing issues, which all cost money, unfortunately. But but you know, we came to a number that worked for us both, and you know, now we have got planning. We will kind of move forward to completion, and you know, effectively we'll buy the site, and he'll get paid.
Brilliant. So hang on. So wasn't it a bungalow that somebody was living in? Why was there no services then?
So there was services, but the issue was they needed upgrading. So there wasn't a sewer connection that was dealt with on a septic tank, which is fine if you've got a bungalow on a big plot. But you know, obviously, as soon as you build 3 bungalows, you know, you've got 2 issues. First is, you know, they're not really that convenient. If you can connect to the mains drainage, you know, it's much more attractive to a buyer. And secondly, when you're, you know, obviously increasing the density of a plot like that, you have to have certain offsets for things like septic tanks, or well, you can't really put in septic tanks nowadays. They're more sort of digesters. So actually, we were finding out we couldn't actually fit them on the site. So we really had to connect to the main sewer. Now that then opened up the whole issue of access, because the only way we could get to the main sewer was down a private road, and someone else owns that, so you can't just go digging up someone else's road. So yeah, it wasn't straightforward at all.
Well, but it's great to see your resilience and the fact that you still kept going, kept going. You hit challenges and you hit hurdles, and is this what property development unfortunately is all about, right? I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
you tell me, what's been your sort of, how do you feel? Because a lot of people feel there's this perfect deal out there. Do you think there's one?
There's always challenges and hurdles, you know, and effectively that's how we get paid as property developers. Yeah, we have to solve problems, you know, and that's exactly what we've done here.
Absolutely. But, you know, like you said, it's been a long journey. You've got there in the end, and now you're going to finally complete and get the, you know, mobilize your contractor team and whatever. So are you going to get bank funding on this one?
That's right. Yeah, that's what I'm just working through at the moment. We're putting together a full development appraisal that has to explain, you know, the team behind the project, because the bank want to underwrite, you know, me as a developer, the team. It has to explain all the costings. They have to get comfortable with how much, you know, they're going to lend you to build this thing out. And we have to explain in a lot of detail how we've arrived at our end values for the properties we're going to build. So how we've arrived at those GDVs, what our comparables are that back that up.
So like you'll have obviously a red book valuation, obviously through the bank one before, obviously, or you know.
Yeah, they will obviously come in and get their own valuation, you know, that they will rely on. But you know, to kind of get the process moving, obviously we've talked to agents, we've done our own research, and we've put our sort of case forward for what we think the GDV is, and then obviously they'll go away, get their valuation, and you know, make sure the two tally up, and that effectively allows them to work out how much they'll lend us to build the project.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, brilliant. Oh, but you still have to buy it, right? You still have to go and yeah.
That's it. Yeah, and that's, you know, that's the beauty of this process where we're buying subject to planning, is we can get our ducks in a row. You know, we know we've got planning now. We don't have to complete straight away. There's some bits and pieces we have to do. We can use that time to get our finance sorted. That development finance will fund approximately half of the site purchase costs and 100% of the development costs. That's generally, as a rough rule of thumb, how it works. So we'll have to put in half of the site purchase costs on day one, but then the development finance will cover the other half of the site purchase and all of the development costs.
Brilliant. Well, it seems like a really exciting week for you, actually. So what would you say have been the frustrations? Then you've had a huge success, and obviously thanks to all your resilience and your perseverance. Where do you think, where's been the frustrations this week, if I may ask?
It's getting to the next level of detail. Obviously, you know, there's a huge amount of running around you then have to do to work out what, you know, we did early on, we did a lot of work on it to sort of figure out the feasibility. But then now, you know, that was a while back. Now we've got to really nail down all those quotes for the build, work out what the finance is going to cost, what the utility connections are going to cost, put it all together, what the new build warranty is going to cost, who are we going to go with, what's the specification going to be, you know, these are bungalows, who's the likely market, you know, talking to the agents, you know, do they want underfloor heating, do they want a log burning stove in there? Is that a must have? There's just all these things that you just take everything to the next level. You have to think really far ahead as well, because although you think, well, it's going to be ages till we have to think about putting a log burning stove in. Well, not really, because actually the structural drawings are going to get done fairly quickly. If we need chimneys and different lintels and things like that, or if we want to put underfloor heating in, that's possibly going to have a bearing on how we build it, and some of the energy calculations that go into the building, the SAP calculations.
Yes, absolutely. I think there's a lot to property development that meets the eye, really, isn't it? It's not as sexy as it looks like. Absolutely. So yeah, I think interesting week for you. Just a quick synopsis of where I've been. I think I mentioned to you, we're looking to buy a site in Maidenhead. We exchanged on this site. We got it directly, unfortunately, as well, on the open market, as it were, through a commercial agent, and exchanged on it 2 weeks ago. So we're in the middle of doing exactly what you're doing, the next level of detail, trying to get surveys booked, right to light, because we've got bank funding agreed on this deal, and is actually only 40% of the actual purchase price. So banks are lending less and less on the acquisition than, of course, 100% on the back end of it, on the build. But that means we need a lot more money to put into these deals, right? And if we do it direct to vendor, it might be a slightly different story, because they could bring the land in. You don't even have to purchase the site. That could be. So I know you and I have been discussing about the course and the advantages. For those of you listening out there, David and I are running a course actually on Friday, the 8th of January, which specifies a system to find sites firstly, and then negotiate and create a system around a direct to vendor site. So finding those profitable deals off market. So so David, I think I'm looking forward to a coffee morning next week, Tuesday. So guys, please keep that slot free. Tuesday next week, which is the date is the 24th of November at 10:30 a.m. We're going to go back live on YouTube, and we're going to share all things property, not just weekend review, and also share a little bit information about the course we run. So hopefully that's okay with you. David, it was lovely speaking to you today, and hope you have a good rest of the week.
No, we always love talking property. I can talk all day long about property. So